Greetings, this is Frosty Thundertrod of Thundertrod Permaculture, and this is the first video of a video series that I am going to be uploading here on my homesteading channel, Thundertrod Permaculture, instead of my gaming channel. Since while I do intend to keep uploading real-world homesteading stuff, I don't have enough content to really keep this channel occupied, since I am just a homesteader on the side. I work full-time and I'm running a gaming YouTube channel, and I'm also doing a small home farm. So I don't really have enough real-world content to keep this channel saturated. So I'm going to start uploading my farming simulator content over here, since this is probably a better match for it than the RPG content on my main channel, which is just Frosty Thundertrod. Alright, so this is Farming Simulator 25. This is the Homestead map by Jacob77. I am starting with $500,000. A starting loan of 0. Economic difficulty hard. Starting farm no. Guided tour no. Here's all the mods that I've installed. A lot of most of these are all the official mods, all the expansions. The only 2 mods that are required are okay. Well, I'll just go through the whole rules right now. Economy hard. Special rules for the series. After initial setup, which initial setup ends as soon as I start doing any sort of farm work. After initial setup, anything I buy in the market, I will not be able to pick up until the next day. Anything that I build on the farm after initial setup, I won't be able to use until 2 days later. I cannot sell stuff that consumers can't use. So I can't sell wood, but I can sell lumber. I can't sell grain, but I can sell flour or oils made from grain. I may sell root crops. I mean, after all, you can use a potato. I can sell green beans and spinach. I can sell all this stuff from the greenhouse. And beyond that, anything from the greenhouse, or the fields that's a vegetable, anything that would spoil quickly, I must either sell it or process it the same day. So I can't, sit on a bunch of tomatoes from my greenhouse until tomatoes reach their peak price. I have to sell the tomatoes every day. Milk must be bottled to sell it, because let's face it, I can't pull up to somebody's house with a tanker full of milk and expect them to be able to do anything with it. And I must sell the bottled milk every day as it pops out of the dairy. Cheese and butter can be stored because that can be frozen, or cheese has a halfway decent shelf life depending on the type of cheese. Eggs, once the egg pallet becomes full, I have to either sell it or use it. I can't sell grass. I can't sell silage. I can, however, sell hay or straw, but only in the small square bales that the general homesteader uses. I might allow some round bales, but with where I'm setting this up at, I don't see much of a value in doing round bales. Because for the role play of this, this is going to be set in an area near Juneau, Alaska. And while there are homesteaders in Alaska that can use, stuff like hay, since especially as you get just not very far inland at all in Alaska, it becomes very difficult to grow livestock forage. So the homesteaders that are, just a slight ways in that have, a family milk cow definitely need hay and straw for bedding. This is going to be an a off-grid setup since I'm so far away from everybody. There's no utilities for me to access. Also, since there's no part stores here, I have to set up a repair bay that costs at least $5,000. The $5,000 is assuming that I have a stock of, oil, grease, hydraulic fluid, belts, hoses, tires, spark plugs, anything that you would not normally expect to be a common point of failure or wear out, because otherwise I have to wait until the next day for a part to arrive if I have to order a part. Um, the part of Alaska around Juneau is Zone 6. So only crops that can grow in hardiness Zone 6 and with a 140-day growing season are allowed. So that means no olives, no sugar cane, uh, anything that would be tropical. Now, while I am allowed to grow um, willow, or as it calls it in game poplar, there's just not a market for that in Alaska, so I'm not going to do it. Because in Alaska, wood chips and sawdust are everywhere. That's one of the same reasons why I can't sell wood, because everybody has wood, but there is a huge demand for lumber in Alaska because there are no big lumber mills out there. If you don't have your own little portable lumber mill, you got to bring in all your lumber from the mainland. There are two mods that are required: Red Tape by Oz and Farming RP Pack by Vidzo, FZTO. So I guess that's Vidsto. Now, on this map that I chose, it has a bug where you always start with equipment, even if you choose one of the other uh, game modes instead of New Farmer. So all total, this equipment's worth about 40K. So it won't be too much of a throw off for me. So my RP excuse for this is that David, who is the only other person that lives up here permanently, this is where he works. This here is the transfer station. This is owned by the Trucking and Logistics Company. They don't have anybody that lives here, but David works here as the property manager for the state of Alaska here, trying to sell off all this land. And then the trucking company sends people out here to man this transfer station, but they don't actually live here. As such, there's no workers for me to hire. Although every once in a while, David does have a small little field down there, which we're going to see in a bit when I go to pick up the equipment down there. And sometimes he might offer me a job to go do a contract for him. But since his field is so tiny, it's more of a garden than a field. It usually only pays a couple $100 at the most. So anyway, this is a transfer station. Now, David has had the mechanic up here take a look at the equipment that he gave me, including this pickup, so that they have everything they need on hand to fix it up and get it ready to go. But I need to go into settings here. All right, this shows me how much my farm is worth right now. And this is from the Red Tape mod. Red Tape gives me policies that I have to obey, schemes that I might be able to take advantage of, taxes that I have to pay, and grants that I might be able to apply for. See, right now, I don't have any grants that I can apply for. Right now, most of this just does not apply to me. All right. Anyway, back to settings. All right. Now, economic difficulty is hard. Traffic is on, but there's nobody else out here. Now, this is a 2-day month because essentially if I order something, it's going to take about 2 weeks for it to get here. So this gives me basically each day would represent 2 weeks of real time, 2-day months. Periodic plowing is on, crop destruction is on, field stone is on, weeds are on, disaster destruction I'm disabling, automatic engine start is off. All right, AI worker refill is off. All right, base tax rate is 20%. Grants enabled, yes. Policy schemes enabled, yes. And taxes enabled, yes. And I do have precision farming installed. All right. Now I'm going to repair this truck. $2,000. Obviously, that needed major repairs. I mean, I just spent $2,000 to repair a truck that's worth less than $1,000. And I am taking that toolbox out of the back to free up the bed for hauling. Fortunately, that don't cost me nothing. Alright, now I'm going to bring the farming RP pack prevents me from teleporting. So I'm going to have to bring the tractor and the utensils up to be repaired. Or implements, not utensils, implements. This is David's place here. This is where he lives. That's a small little field over there. And has an incentive to buy my lot of land from him. He gave me this tractor, this planter, and this plow. I'm going to sell the planter, but I'm going to keep the plow and the tractor. All right. This tractor runs, but barely. I'm not a huge fan of John Deere, but the 3000 series is old enough that I can put up with it. It's not as good as the 4000 series was, but fortunately, the mechanic up there at the transfer station's already had a look at these pieces of equipment. And I found a buyer for the planter, although I have to fix it for the buyer. This is really a good planter, but it's not suitable for my needs out here since it can't truck drill. Since I have a plow but not a cultivator, I have no way to, I need to be able to direct drill. Now, hopefully, by the time I get this planter, the tractor, and the plow all taken care of, the rest of the stuff that I brought with me should be arriving. They'll be dropped off here at the transfer station, and then it'll be up to me to get it out to the farm itself. Alright. Alright. So repair the planter. And then sell it. So that's a pretty good price that I got for that. Now, repair the tractor. The tractor, I just put $3,000 into a $1,500 tractor. And I'm going to make a couple customizations to it. The quickie loader can stay. I'm not going to use it, but the attachment can stay there. I did, however, buy the package to add the front 3-point, and I added a egg monitor to the tractor. So I just dumped another $15,000 into a $1,500 tractor. Yay me. All right. Now, let's see about getting everything I'm going to need here. All right, let's start off. I need my WIFO lifter. Now I'm going to go right down the list here so that I make sure I get everything I need as I see it. I'm going to get this equipment / flatbed trailer here. Roleplay wise, I already ordered all this stuff back home before I came out here. So I already bought this property quite a while ago, and I've just been having it set up for me until now. So this is just the moving in day. All right. I really like Power Heroes, and I'll probably get one eventually, but not right now. Same with spaders. I really like spaders. Moldboard plows are probably the second best way to plow. All the research data says that chisel plows are better, but real world experience has shown me that moldboard plows actually give better yield than chisel plows do. I don't know why, but that's just my personal experience. All right. Now for the seeder, I am going to get this Massey Ferguson because there is a cheaper one up here, but these are so primitive and old, they can't really work with my crop monitor. Well, they shouldn't. In game-wise, they do, but they shouldn't work with my crop monitor. As for this Massey Ferguson is a lot more modern, so it does work with my crop monitor. And then I need a planter too. And for that, I am going with, yes, this one right here. because this is also a direct. All right. Here it takes. No. GPS with GPS and gyroflex, so it works better with my monitor and my. All right. I'm going to need a pallet seat, of course. I'm going to need a fertilizer spreader for that. I'm going to take this IMIC one here, which can do fertilizer and lime. I'm going to need a weeder. Since I'm on a budget, I am tempted to just go to the hoe, but I'm going to just stay with the cheap weeder. All right. And then roller. This rolling bear by Madar Agro is great because it can be configured to either do grass or soil. Now for consumables, I'm going to need a lot of lime because I'm going to be making a lot of virgin fields out here. And then I'm going to need 2 fertilizers. I got to make sure to have all this on hand because if I don't get it now, I got to wait quite a while for it to arrive. I don't need any herbicide. Okay. I can wait on a harvester, but I do need a mower. And for that, I'm just going to go with this simple sickle mower. It's good enough. And then this to implement here can be configured to be either a windrower or a tedder. So I'll go ahead and buy it. And then I'll be able to swap back and forth as I need. Right. And then I'm going to need a baler. And this Lely here for 14,000 is a good price. Get standard bale twine. Now I'm going to need a weight. Where are my weights? My weights are, here's one. I'm going to get the New Holland 1000. I think that's going to take care of everything here. Yeah. Make sure I have everything. So like I said, anything I don't get today, it's going to be more expensive and take a lot more time. Well, I don't necessarily need to buy my harvester today. I think I might just go ahead and get my harvester. All right. And get the Massey Ferguson 310. Big expansion. Get a cabin so I don't have to breathe all that grain dust. Okay. I believe that is everything now. I still need to go down and pick up my plow. I'll bring it up here. Yeah, see, David wasn't using this stuff, was just sitting in the weeds here, so. Guess he has some better, newer stuff down here at the transfer station that he uses. Pick up this plow fixed. Yeah, this first episode might be just completely the setup with no actual farming going on. This is a $10,000 plow, so this is a pretty good plow. right. Here, go to the map. Come on, load. There we go. And field 46 is mine. Oh, I almost forgot something. See, that would have been very bad because this is something I'll need right away. So if I hadn't remembered it here while I was still doing the initial setup, I would have been screwed. I need this water barrel. Okay, I'm gonna have to move some stuff out of the way. There we go. All right. Now, having a grain cart would be very handy, but I don't absolutely positively need it right now. This is the reason why I chose this type of a flatbed. I looked at using the manual attach mod for this series, but I ran into problems with it not being compatible with some of the pieces of equipment that I like, so I chose not to include it. also have the mod installed where it lets me paint and grade for free. Just because in the real world, I would do my own grading myself for any buildings I was going to do, especially here in a off-grid, rural, rugged situation like this. And here we are at my new farm. I chose this location because it's on top of this little hill, so I don't have to worry about any sort of flooding. And also, this hill's already been logged, so it's wide open. So I don't have to worry about clearing any trees out of the way. Which, as I mentioned before, since this is Alaska, just about everybody up here, has all the timber they could ever want. While lumber is in great demand because no place up here, there's no big lumber mills, but trees themselves aren't very high demand. Okay. I use gravel because it's just a high contrast, and I had the surveyors come out and mark my property boundaries so that I can find them. Okay, there's the actual property boundary right there. Yep. Alright, let's go this way until I find it again. Should be getting pretty close to it again over here. That's what I thought. Okay, yeah, this is just to mark my property boundaries so I know where I can or I can't build. Okay. Then I have the straight line mod included, so by holding left shift down, I can just draw a straight line. I see, I see. I was looking a different way than I thought I was. That explains why it wasn't. Okay. Yeah, this was the way I thought it was facing. Okay. Yep. Because there's a little jet out over here. There's another little jet out over here. There it is. Okay. Now I'm going to mark out where my fields are going to be. I'm going to divide this area into 3 fields. 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to level out an area for the house. Then soften the slope. Right. Now for my house, I'm going to use this one here. Alright. Now I need, see the satellite dish on it? That needs to face south, which it is. Perfect. And since this is set up to be off-grid, put a solar panel right here, once again facing south, and then a wind turbine. This will give me all the power I need, and with 2 types of water. It should be fairly stable. Now I'm going to need water for this homestead. And this will provide me the water I need. That's good. Do some more leveling. No, I want you to level this way. And then soften. There we go. Set up a windmill here so that once I have crops, I can turn those crops into oil and flour. That's good. Now, I need to find the part I'm looking for. Here it is. All right. Since flour's very sensitive to getting wet, this little lean-to here will provide some shelter over the area where the flour will spawn out of the windmill. I need a silo to store my grain and such in. So I really couldn't get a traditional silo that you would get down in the lower 48, but I was able to find one of these that I could have shipped up here in the Subathon site, and I can get expansions to fit this too. So I'm gonna bring it off the property line a little bit to give me some room to put in expansion tanks if I need to. Good. Over here, I need to level some more land. Get all that soil from over here that I've basically taken all this soil from up over here and pushing it over here to create a nice, only slightly sloping area. Take all this over here. Take all this soil and move it over here where it's needed more. Alright, soften this edge here to make it easier to get up and down. put in a retaining wall here. There we go. Perfect. Okay. This down a little bit more over here to make room for future ones. All right, here we go. So now let's see. I'll go ahead and show you the inside of the house here. So I've got satellite dish and a solar panel facing south. You can tell it's south because over here in the little mini map, see that little checkpoint in the rim? That's the north. So since I'm facing north, that means the satellite dish and solar panel are facing south. And this is the inside of the house. Got a light switch right here. Nice little bathroom. And a bedroom here. We got shutters for my door, shutters over my windows. Another light switch. Some nice closet space. A TV. Another shuttered entrance. Oh, almost forgot. I need to put in. Let's see, construction. There's two more things I still need here. Let's go to containers. I need a fuel tank. There we go. Because like I said, I'm entirely dependent on... There's no gas station up here, so whatever fuel I have is all the fuel that there is. Okay, there we go. Tools. All right. There we go. There's my repair bay I need. Perfect. I still got a little bit of money left, so let's go ahead and get myself a pressure washer. Okay. And fill up my fuel tank with diesel. It's nice I can store a little bit of equipment in here. Oh, another rule that I forgot to mention is I can only have one greenhouse per crop type. Now I think they lost a bit of an opportunity. I can understand why this the mod that this house came from was meant to be used in Brazil. But if they put this chimney up through the water tank, instead of having a plastic metal tank, a water metal tank with the chimney up through it, the warmth of the chimney would keep the water in the water tank from freezing. I think that would actually be a great addition to that. For the most part, I'm going to keep my productions and equipments over here on the west side of the road. Yep, I'm very pleased with this setup right now. You can easily see where I dumped $500,000 into it. Alright, so I'm going to start doing some time skips here while I pick up equipment and bring it over to the farm. Alright, it's time to grab some more of my equipment and haul it back to the farm. So I think I will grab more. I'm gonna hook myself back up to the trailer, and then I'm gonna load the combine and header onto the trailer. fan's a nice touch. Looks like most of my weight's forward, so I need to go on the trailer front-wise. Oops. Gotta be careful here, because I just barely fit. And I do mean just barely. I need to have David come out here and guide me onto the trailer so that I actually go on the damn thing, alright? There we go. Whew. That was a tight fit, but it fit. Okay, so I'll get this back to the farm now. Tractor's struggling to pull this thing up the hill the rest of the way. There we go. Made it. That retaining wall there looks pretty good. Alright. Alright. Yeah, a lifetime of experience of loading and unloading equipment onto trailers just tells me it's best just to go for it and not hesitate. You'll freak yourself out if you hesitate. There we go. I didn't tell you to unfold, I just wanted to drop you. Hold up. Okay, so I can't lower you and then drop you. I have to just drop you with you up in the air. Alright, it didn't fall over. That's why I was worried about it falling over. Alright, head back to the transfer station and pick up the next load of stuff. Okay, here I am back at the transfer station. Get my WIFO. And my weight. Alright, spread my forks to maximum width. This is the reason why I really like the WIFO. It's so much easier to use than a front-end loader. forks in a little bit. Okay, everything's all strapped down. Fold up my forks. Well, it's not really necessary since there's nothing around here for me to run into. I don't like running around with my forks sticking out to be plunged into something if I do happen to run into like David or something going through. Alright, I'll be back when I get back to the farm. Okay. With my close this gate and get it out of the way. Okay, so how do I get the pallets into this one? I wonder if this is another one. Because some of these sheds I have noticed have the trigger to take the pallets in just doesn't work. Well, let's see. Alright, well, it appears that this storage one here just does not work. That's annoying. It's a shame, I liked how this one looked. Storage is empty. Door. No. Let's try going in here. No. Well, fudge. So this is the second shed like this I found that just does not work. This one I know works, but it's not as pretty, and actually I think its storage capacity is a little bit too big. Alright, I'll be back after I get all these pallets put away. Alright, there we go. They're all put away now. I'm gonna go pick up the next two pieces of equipment, and I'll be back again. Alright, here I am again. Alright, I'll get these back to the farm. Alright, time for the next batch. Alright, here I am again, so I'll grab the windrower slash tedder. And the baler. Alright, back to the farm we go. Okay, now we're back at the farm with the baler and the windrower slash tedder. Put the baler right here for now. And I'll put the windrower slash tedder up here. Alright, back for another load. Alright. So I'm going to pick up the weeder here on the front. And then the roller on the back. So I'll put the roller right here. And I guess I can put the weeder up over here behind the silo. But the last thing to pick up with the tractor is a seeder, so I'll go grab that and bring it back here. Alright, here I am with the planter. Where should I put this? I'm running out of little cubby holes. Guess I'll put it right next to the, yeah, this is a seeder, but I'll put it right next to the planter. Alright, I need to go grab the pickup and pick up the last item at the shop. Alright, I'll be back when I get back to the farm. Okay, here I am with the last item from the shop, this water barrel. And now that I started filling it with water, this is the first bit of farm work I'm doing. So this ends the official setup phase of the farm. From now on, all the rules are fully in effect. Alright, I'm going to have the first one do lettuce, and then the second one can do tomatoes. Now, since the Farmer's Roleplay mod does not let me use distribution, I can't use the water distributor, so I actually have to haul all the water. Like this. Alright, I'll finish filling up these greenhouses and then I'll come back to sign off for the day. Okay. Greenhouses are full of water. Home sweet home. I'm going to end this episode right here. This one ran 1 hour 37 minutes, so I'm going to try to keep these at 1 hour each normally. Thank you very much for watching.